So my reflection of the danger of a single story. After watching the video of the TED Talk, she covered how growing up and throughout life, you're being told a story of somewhere that's different from where you're at currently. And that story is going to be your perception of what is actually going on, when in reality, it's going to be completely different. She shared that when she went to college, and that her college roommate, knowing that she came from South Africa, was thinking that they didn't speak English, when they were surprised to find out that she spoke perfect English and that English was the primary language of South Africa. Another issue that kind of came with that was that her roommate thought that she only had listened to tribal songs instead of listening to Carrie Underwood like every other girl in that group. And in the text here, in a smaller section in the chapter 3 with Bus Ride, it started off talking about how a girl was beaten with an extension cord, and that when she showed up to her mom's house and knocked on the door, the mom said again, showing that it's not the first time that they had been beaten with an extension cord. And honestly, it kind of sets the expectation for me as the reader immediately that in that culture that this story is originating from, is that it's okay for them to beat kids. And that's where the danger of a single story kind of comes in, is that being my first introduction to the area or to that part of the story, is it builds that idea that beating a kid with extension cord is okay, when in here that's not really allowed to happen, because we have child rights and services in situations here. So child abuse, child neglect, stuff like that doesn't really happen here because of what we have in place. And a version of what a single story for me, at least in my own life, is I'm from Colorado, so I've used to the way that Colorado does things and the way that life is day to day there. So coming out here, I was told by people back from my hometown that Wisconsin's a bunch of drunks. So my interpretation was that when I come out here, there's going to be a lot of people here that were always drinking, never sober, and constantly causing an issue. That when I did come out here, that was what I was thinking I was going to run into. When in reality, I ended up meeting a lot of really cool people and found out that, a decent bit of the population drinks, but it's not as bad as other places make it out to seem. So, I personally think that was a pretty good example of my own experience into realizing that the stories that I'm given aren't accurate to the actual situation. So I think that this TED Talk was really good to make sure that people have the understanding to not only listen to one side of a story, or not listen to one story and judge the location purely off of that story. Because you're going to find out that when you get there, it may not always be what everyone makes it out to be. And you might actually enjoy it there, or you might enjoy the people there, but you realize that what we're being fed through social media or through other peers isn't always 100% accurate in what's going on. And that's the true issue of one story, is that you never get the full story, and it's also keeping people from being open-minded as to learn other cultures when they hear one story and just close off from it immediately.